The roar of an audience is like a tidal wave. It surges, it crashes, it drowns out everything else. For decades, Elton John lived inside that roar, immersed in the energy of stadiums, concert halls, and the adoration of millions. The sequined suits, the oversized glasses, the pianos that seemed to explode with fire, every element of his performance became larger than life. To the outside world, it was a celebration of joy, music, and unbridled artistry. But behind the curtain, when the applause faded and the lights dimmed, there was a quieter, more complicated story. A man, now 78, who carries the weight of a lifetime of challenges, victories, and personal struggles. A man whose public triumphs often hid private battles. From Pinner to stardom, it is tempting to view Elton John's career as a fairy tale. A boy from Pinner, Middlesex, named Reginald Kenneth Dwight, who transformed himself into one of the most flamboyant and universally admired performers in music history. He sold over 300 million records, sold out arenas across the globe, won countless awards, and became a cultural icon whose music shaped generations. Yet behind every triumph was a story of persistence and survival, a narrative of a child who craved love and recognition in ways that fame could never fully provide. Every glittering stage, every standing ovation, concealed the echoes of a boy who once sat alone at a piano, learning to survive through the power of music. Childhood shadows. Before the sequins and the spotlights, there was Reginald Dwight, a quiet, chubby boy growing up on Pinner Hill Road in a modest home just outside London. His father, Stanley Dwight, a Royal Air Force officer, was strict and distant, prioritizing discipline over tenderness. Affection was rare, praise even rarer. His mother, Sheila, offered a more present but unpredictable form of care, alternating between encouragement and volatility. Love in the household was conditional, fleeting, and often painful. For young Reginald, the piano became both refuge and companion. Each note he played was a momentary escape from the coldness surrounding him, a way to craft a world in which he could belong. Music became a lifeline, a means of expression that could reach beyond the silence of his home. The first steps of a dream. By age 3, Reginald was picking out melodies by ear, displaying a precocious talent that promised something extraordinary. By 11, he had earned a scholarship to the Royal Academy of Music, a recognition that could have been a triumph, but instead underscored how isolated he felt. Surrounded by prodigies and mentors who appreciated his skill, he still felt like an outsider. The voice of his father's expectations and his mother's critiques lingered in his mind, reminding him that nothing he achieved could fully fill the emptiness inside. Music remained both a shield and a mirror, reflecting both his talent and his insecurities. Building a persona. As a child, Reginald was overlooked, dismissed, and often misunderstood. It was this experience that would later shape the persona of Elton John. The flamboyant costumes, the oversized glasses, and the exuberant performances were not merely artistic choices. They were armor. They were a way to ensure that no one would ever mistake him for invisible again. He adopted the name Elton John, borrowing from a saxophonist he admired and a friend named Long John Baldry, signaling the transformation from the shy, insecure Reginald into a confident, dazzling performer. Yet beneath the glittering exterior remained the boy who longed for unconditional love, the boy whose early life had taught him that approval was hard to come by. Finding his voice. The late 1960s were a period of musical revolution in Britain. Bands and solo artists were experimenting, rebelling, and redefining popular music. In this fertile environment, Elton found his voice. He joined a band called Bluesology as a teenager, performing in pubs and small clubs, often to indifferent audiences. These early performances were not just about music. They were acts of defiance against a world that had often overlooked him. Each show offered a glimpse of the person he might become, a way to carve a place for himself that no one could take away. But even as his talent became evident, self-doubt remained a constant companion, whispering that he might never truly belong. the partnership that changed everything. It was during this time that Elton met Bernie Taupin, a lyricist whose words would perfectly complement Elton's music. Their partnership was almost magical, a meeting of two young men who barely knew each other but somehow completed each other's creative vision. Bernie's lyrics gave voice to feelings Elton had long struggled to articulate, while Elton's melodies brought those words to life. Together, they produced timeless songs like Your Song, Tiny Dancer, and Border Song, tracks that were not only commercially successful but deeply personal. Behind the public success, these songs were confessions, reflections of a young man trying to understand himself and the world around him. The ascendancy of a superstar. By the early 1970s, Elton John was everywhere. Albums like Anki Chateau and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road cemented his status as a global sensation. His concerts became events, spectacles of sound, color, and energy that left audiences in awe. He sold out Madison Square Garden, toured relentlessly, and became a household name. Yet, the very success that seemed like liberation also brought new pressures. The expectations of fans, managers, and the media grew heavier, and the boy who had once sought love and recognition still felt unseen in private moments. Fame amplified the insecurities that had been planted in childhood, and the distance between the stage persona and the man behind it often felt unbridgeable. Struggles behind the spotlight. The outward appearance of success masked personal challenges. In a time when his true self could not be fully expressed, Elton battled the isolating effects of fame. Alcohol, drugs, and compulsive behaviors became ways to cope with the pressure and quiet the internal critic that had followed him from childhood. These struggles were never fully visible to the public, who only saw brilliance and extravagance. Behind the scenes, however, Elton was navigating a delicate balance between self-expression and self-preservation, finding ways to survive in a world that demanded constant spectacle. The mask and the man. The costumes, the feather bows, the oversized glasses, they were not just performance props, they were shields. Each appearance on stage, each flamboyant outfit was a carefully constructed defense against the vulnerabilities he carried. Elton's flamboyance allowed him to be seen, admired, and celebrated, but it also hid the boy who had once felt invisible. This duality became central to his life. The world adored Elton John, the performer, while Reginald Dwight, the person, continued to navigate insecurity and longing. The cost of fame. Success and creative brilliance brought freedom, but also a relentless demand for more. Tours, albums, and performances created a cycle of expectation that was exhausting. Every show, every audience, every note carried the weight of decades of striving for approval. At 78, Elton can reflect on a life filled with extraordinary achievements, yet he also understands the cost of such a life. Fame did not erase loneliness. Triumphs did not fully heal old wounds. The child who had once sat at a piano seeking comfort and recognition was still a presence beneath the glittering persona, reminding him of the path that led to his extraordinary career. Personal life and redemption. Amidst these struggles, Elton found stability and love later in life, particularly with his husband, David Furnish, and through his dedication to philanthropy and activism. These aspects of his life provided solace and purpose, offering ways to give back and make a difference. Yet even as he built a family and devoted himself to causes close to his heart, the echoes of childhood isolation and the intensity of his early career never fully disappeared. They remained, subtly influencing his choices, his creative output, and his understanding of self-worth. The human behind the legend. What audiences see on stage is a carefully curated persona, a masterful performer, a legend in music, a symbol of confidence and charisma. What they often cannot see is the humanity behind the spectacle, the vulnerabilities, the long hours of practice, the private doubts, and the resilience required to maintain such brilliance over decades. Elton John's story is not just one of success and artistry, it is a story of perseverance. adaptation, and the ongoing search for self-acceptance in a world that often measures worth by applause and accolades. Triumphs intertwined with challenges. From sold-out arenas to Grammy wins, Elton's life has been marked by staggering achievements. Yet each triumph was paired with private challenges. The surgeries, health concerns, and personal struggles served as reminders that even extraordinary talent does not exempt one from human fragility. By acknowledging these struggles, we understand that his story is not only about what he achieved, but also about what he overcame. Each performance is a testament not just to musical skill, but to endurance, determination, and the courage to keep showing up, even when the personal cost is high. Music as lifeline music has always been both his calling and his salvation. From childhood through global superstardom, the piano has been his constant companion, a means to communicate when words alone were insufficient. His melodies and lyrics carry the depth of lived experience, joy, longing, resilience, and vulnerability. They are a bridge between the boy who once felt unseen and the man who commands stadiums worldwide. For Elton, every note played, every song written, is an affirmation of survival and a connection to something larger than himself. The legacy. Elton John's story is a reminder of the complexity behind genius. The flamboyance, the spectacle, and the accolades are only part of the narrative. Beneath the glitter lies a journey of resilience, a life shaped by early adversity, intense creativity, and the constant pursuit of meaning and belonging. At 78, he can look back and see not only the music, the awards, and the fame, but also the evolution of a boy into a man who found ways to channel pain into beauty, loneliness into connection, and insecurity into brilliance. Conclusion. The tragedy and triumph of Elton John are inseparable. They are the dual threads of a life fully lived, a career that brought joy to millions, and a story of a human being who never stopped searching for love, recognition, and peace. The audience may cheer for the legend, but the deeper story is of the boy from Pinner who learned early that music could speak where words failed, and that resilience, creativity, and courage could carry him through decades of extraordinary life. Elton John, the icon, stands today as a testament not only to talent and success, but to the enduring human spirit that transforms adversity into art and longing into melody.